I'm calling it. 2019 is almost done. Wow, have there been some changes. We're going to share exactly how client work has changed in 2019 and peek ahead at what's going to happen next year. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Client Whisperer Show. I'm your host, Tony Banta, and I am the Client Whisperer. I've spent over a decade running multiple 6- and 7-figure client businesses, and I've learned that the secret to success in a client business comes down to one thing: leadership. Bad client behavior is the enemy, and with the right curriculum, infrastructure, and mindset, you can lead your clients to great success and scale your business the easy way. Okay, so 2019 is close to wrapping, and what a year it has been. Well, we are here with a short episode this week to distract you from any potential family drama that you might have around the holidays, because today is Christmas Eve, as this episode is dropping. We are just on our normal schedule. We're not going to be in the office this week. These are all recorded ahead of time. But we are dropping a What to Say Wednesday tomorrow. And that should be fun. You'll have to tune in to see what the topic is going to be, but I promise it'll be a fun one. So you don't want to miss that. And on our regular schedule, new episode on Friday, where we're going to be coming to you talking about gratitudes. 2019, the year in gratitude. So that's one where I'm going to get a little bit personal and share a little bit of what my journey this year has been like. And topping the list, of course, is I'm grateful for every one of you, listeners, followers, clients. I'm so appreciative that we get to go on this crazy journey together. But today we are talking about client work in 2019 and what has changed. Well, a good amount has changed. In some ways, it is. It exemplifies that saying that the more that things change, the more they stay the same. For starters, connection trumps all else. And so as we look at marketing and what's changed in marketing, relationships matter just as much as they always have. And more we're seeing technology that's able to accelerate relationships and connections even more than it's been able to in the past. So that tops our list of 2019 conclusions, is that what hasn't changed is relationships matter. What has changed is there are new tools and ways that allow us to do that. But you know what? On the marketing front, email from every marketer. I'm not the marketer. This is not the marketing show. We have some great marketing interviews planned over the first quarter of next year to bring in some amazing experts who can talk about that. But email is still king. Your email list still matters. You can use other interruption marketing like on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and etc. to get some attention or to accelerate that, get some more impressions. But the email list is where it's at. I just had a call earlier today with our new agency that we're working with, and a great team, powerful team. Can't wait to bring them on to share some things. We're gonna wait for the first big win that we get to celebrate, and then we're gonna bring them on to celebrate that win with all of you, our listeners. But we are. The first question is, how big's the email list? Where's the email list? How do we know which people are highly engaged? Matters more than anything else does right now, because those are the people in your circle. Clients, I would say, probably matters more. Clients and client successes, because maximizing client revenue, maximizing client wins, lifetime client value, and the value that you're providing to clients is still going to be your most impactful way to grow. But second to that, email, still where it's at, shockingly. One of the other biggest shifts that we're seeing is more and more clients just aren't buying the internet marketingy-bs. They just aren't. They want real. They want to know that there are seasoned professionals that are helping them. Because thanks to all of the great tools that are out there, ClickFunnels, Kajabi, Thinkific, thanks to all of these great tools, Kartra, It's super easy to hang a shingle and say that you're an expert. But being an expert and getting client results is another story. And so clients are looking for those kinds of indicators, those kinds of lead indicators that would say that something's working, that someone is the right vendor, the right provider for them. And image matters, brand matters. Having those things be polished matters. What matters even more, though, is social proof. Some friends of mine are going to be coming on in January, Justin and Michelle, at least some combination of the two of them. They run a program called Social Proof Club. And social proof and client success go hand in hand. If you're leading your clients, then you're able to talk about those great client wins, those great client successes. And being able to show that social proof more than anything else wins, shows clients the journey that you get to take them on. And of course, when you talk about social proof, that exposes a really big question. What percentage of your clients really do get those results? 2019 saw some big lawsuits, both from the FCC and some private lawsuits against people in our space, coaches, consultants. Gary Vee was hit. There were a few other big names that got hit. And why? Because they play fast and loose with some of their marketing, with some of their claims, with some of what they wanted to talk about. They trumped some of those up and didn't necessarily have the goods to back that up. And here's why that's important. I can't speak to some of the lawsuits that are out there, some of the people who either the government, or which I generally dislike to see the government do, or private people, clients, class action suits, things like this. The best way to avoid a lawsuit or a class action suit, if you're a client business, serve your clients really well. It's the best way. Do what you say you're going to do. Say what you're going to do what you're going to say, and do it well. Surprise and delight, over deliver above what you say you're going to do. But even above those, what makes a huge difference is being willing to have a tough conversation with your client. Being willing to have the tough conversation where you tell them what they need to do for their success and allow them to opt out. Don't mind if they opt out because they decide that the work that you tell them they need to do isn't for them. Because ultimately, it's up to them. Ultimately, it might not be for them. They might need some space. They might need some room. It just might not be what they need. So that is one of the biggest shifts around client success that we're seeing. Both the government and clients are just getting wise to the all marketing, all sales, no fulfillment trend that too many people have. And I would widen that to say, even some of you listening have fulfillment. It's not like you steal from your clients, but that doesn't mean that your fulfillment is dialed in. And besides exposing you to all of those negative things, to bad press or to legal action, the other thing that does is that brings the ceiling down for how much you can get in terms of lifetime client revenue. And there's a direct correlation between lifetime client revenue, client value, and how healthy your business is. The more that you have clients who stay, the percentage of your total revenue that new client acquisition costs are, the lower that percentage, the more insulated you are. And that was the other trend. That's the next trend on our list that we saw in 2019 was ads went up. There's a little bit of a Facebook ad apocalypse towards the end of 2018 that drifted into 2019. We had some clients who were really hit by that, and we had some friends in the industry that went out of business, that just threw in the towel. Why? Because they were solely dependent on cold traffic, on new clients from cold traffic. We hired a new ad agency I mentioned, but up until now, we've never relied on cold traffic. Multiple six figures, and I've had seven-figure businesses before that have been in the same boat of never relying on cold traffic, solely relying on incredibly deep client relationships where we provide a ton of value to them and we have high lifetime client values. That doesn't mean that we didn't help or we don't help now. We help clients for a couple grand to start out in some cases, give them what they need, help them get to that next level, offer them more, help them to the next level, offer them more. And the only reason why they keep buying is because they keep winning, is because they're getting what we promise. And that there is a ton of power in that when you are able to use your client journey as your sales funnel for more work. Incredibly powerful. The next trend that we see on our list is economics. The economy has been really good this year, and certainly that won't always be true. We're definitely due for another recession. But as the economy has been doing so well, we have seen the total of the information economy, coaches, consultants, service providers, experts, course creators, the list goes on, has now grown to, by our best estimates, using a source that we'll link in the show notes to IBIS World, which is one of the largest economic statistic repositories that there is. They're a research firm. They do research into the global economies of all kinds of different sectors, and then they get super specific down from there because there's no one sector for client work. So for us to gather some of that data, we had to look at the cross-section of a whole bunch of different consulting and coaching industries. And we're looking at a total of $1 trillion, just shy of $1 trillion in annual business to the information economy, the expert economy. Well, that is radical in its size. That is crazy in terms of how much money that there is. And so if you are in that space, there is a lot of money flowing around for coaches and consultants. There's a lot of money in our global economy directed towards people who can help other people make sense of what the heck is going on. And there are lots of very tangible ways that people need help. In America, we have an opioid crisis. We have a crisis of meaning. We have people who are, for the second or third year in a row, the average life expectancy in the United States has actually gone down, which is shocking considering that healthcare and medicine tools that we have to keep us alive are so much better than they used to be in the past. Why is that going down? Because suicide rates and drug-related deaths, overdoses, things like that, accidents, are up dramatically. And it's up so much that it's actually reducing the overall life expectancy rate for the population, which is crazy when we think about that. Why? It's a crisis of meaning. People don't know how to make sense of the world around them. They don't know what to do when things aren't working. They don't know where to go. So if you're a coach around spirituality, if you're a life coach, it's a huge opportunity for you to fill that gap. With the online marketing world changing so frequently, there's of course a huge market for people who are going to help clients get more clients or more customers or more feet through the door. So of course that's ramping up dramatically. And as the economy has been doing so well, the market for that has even expanded. There are a bunch of brick and mortar companies that are looking to expand. I hear about new business acquisitions and things like that from my local here in Pennsylvania, from my local network of business and professional friends. There are acquisitions, new growth, new locations opening up. And so if you are in the business of marketing and sales, and or for that matter, construction also on the rise, huge opportunity there for you. And lastly, if you serve this market of the information economy, there are just so many changes happening so frequently. We're going to talk about that in just a second, about what some of our expectations are. And we're going to do an episode on that in a couple weeks. But there is so much happening that it requires experts to help clients make sense of that and figure out their place in that and figure out what they want to do and where they want to go. It's critically important. So what is next? What's coming next? Well, the next decade, as we're reaching the end of the 2010s, the next decade is going to see some incredible things. We're almost certainly going to see space travel for the middle class. I was watching fascinating science documentary on YouTube that one of SpaceX's hidden plans, or maybe they've talked about this, is the idea of actual rapid flight from one continent to another by going up into space. And by going up into space, they can actually go much quicker, where they can actually, so you could fly from New York to Shanghai in an hour. Whereas if you fly that route via commercial plane, via a Boeing or an Airbus, one of those big double-decker planes, you're looking at an 18-hour or something like that flight. So the ability to rapidly hop around the globe will start to be available for the middle class, maybe even being able to go to other planets, like Elon Musk's vision of being a multi-planet species where we can actually colonize other planets in our solar system. That's a good possibility. This last decade saw flight for the wealthy, talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the ability to actually fly up into the outer layers of the atmosphere. So not quite space travel, but certainly not in our local atmosphere, which is very cool. You get some of those weightless things happening. Some of the videos that we've seen of that, which is really interesting, and that is absolutely, the technology for that is absolutely going to be democratized. We've seen that in the last decade. We're also certainly going to get driverless cars. My Tesla right now can drive around the parking lot on its own. So we're almost certainly going to be able to see driverless cars and see that opening up. And there are almost certainly going to see major shifts in our economy as different entire sectors, like around fossil fuels, shift around, as that just becomes less and less economically necessary as other alternative fuels ramp up. And of course, we'll continue to see huge deficits in the number of computer programmers, software developers that are the market for those. It's really hard to find somebody with expertise in that space because they're being gobbled up by all of the big software companies that can't seem to get enough of them. And if you've updated your phone or your Mac this fall, when the new, if you updated it close to when the new operating systems came out, one of the best technology companies, Apple, regardless of, it's a polarizing, it would almost be better to talk about Trump, but Apple certainly has had the reputation of having a good track record, a good client experience. And they had some major problems because they don't have enough software developers. They don't have enough engineers to actually do everything that they need to do and stay on the same release cycle. So there were quite a few bugs in our phones and our Macs this last year. And of course, Google with Android doesn't have enough developers to even allow their operating system to be released on all of the phones that are out there that run their software. A little swipe that I had to take. I'm sorry. Sorry to get political in the smartphone, the great smartphone debates. The next shift that we're going to see, and we already see some of this popping up, 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang, as well as Republican pundit Tucker Carlson, they both talk a lot about how as the manufacturing sector becomes fully automated, there are going to be jobs that humans just don't need to do anymore. And there's going to be huge pools of laborers who no longer have jobs. Now, I'm a little bit, I don't quite buy into that as a reality that's going to happen. Every major shift that we've seen up until now, every shift in technology from the Industrial Revolution, and so on, only just creates new consumers. It just creates new opportunity, new consumption patterns, and thereby it creates new jobs. Just look at the fact that our schools cannot train software developers quickly enough to be able to serve some of these companies. So undoubtedly, there will be lots of new opportunities. But if that is true, and if some of the governmental solutions like universal basic income actually come into play, you're going to look at huge amounts of income that can be devoted to people who need experts to retrain them, who need experts to help them figure out what to do with their life now that they've been displaced, and they're going to have money coming into their bank accounts to do that. So huge opportunities there. All said, if you're a coach, consultant, or expert, and you know how to get client results, and that's the powerful and, then you're set up for a great 2020. And we're going to certainly talk about some of those predictions in next week's episode. We're going to talk about some hardcore 2020 predictions that I have. And at the end of 2020, we'll do another recap episode like this, and we'll see how accurate I was. But this week, I still want to dissect some of the specific changes that we've seen over the year. The biggest gap, the biggest opportunity that we've seen, and we've now had the chance to look inside over 100 client businesses, and even more if we include clients that we've coached, clients of our clients who we've coached, and we've been able to see some of the data flow through from them. And there is a leadership gap. There's no two ways about it. There aren't enough leaders, true leaders, who are willing to get their hands dirty into the reality that people are struggling with in many cases. So if you're an expert, if you're a coach, a consultant, and you're willing to be a leader, there is amazing opportunity for you. If you're an agency owner and you're willing to go further beyond just running client ads or doing client graphic design, you're actually willing to lead them to client success and help them over their own hurdles, internal or external, preventing their success. By the way, they'll pay you more for that. If you're willing to do that, you will be rewarded with legendary client retention and client value, lifetime client value. So there is this huge opportunity there. We see it in our politics too. I'm not going to get political or take any sides because this just isn't the forum for that. But we see it with politics, that we see a lot of people who are more than willing to point the finger and not a lot of people who are willing to lead the way out of the spot that we're in. That's where all the opportunity is. If you focus on that, if you're willing to go deep on that, if you're willing to take the arrows, if you're willing to put the bulletproof vest on your back and march ahead, you will have raving fans who are willing to follow you and are willing to stick up for you, and you will very quickly find your tribe of incredibly loyal, rabidly loyal clients who are going to help you do some amazing things. That has been our 2019 recap. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like I said, tune in Wednesday and Friday, and we'll see you soon.